If you got to this video any other way other than me texting it to you or emailing it to you, hello, my name is Joel Arndt. I'm a mortgage agent with Sherwood Mortgage Group. This is a series of videos I've created specifically for my clients to explain a lot of the process and technical pieces of getting a mortgage in short increments. This video is specifically about down payment documentation. It's probably, other than income, it's the heaviest documentation requirement in the mortgage approval process. And although there are lender-specific qualifications and guidelines to down payment documentation, there are actually legal guidelines for it too. We have to show 3 months of history for any account that is contributing funds to your down payment and closing costs. That is law. By law, anti-money laundering legislation stipulates this. What they want to know is that, first of all, this money is clean and it's been in Canada for long enough. 3 months doesn't sound like a lot. You could probably feel like criminals could get around that somehow, but that's what they've chosen. So we need three monthly bank statements, usually pretty easy to download from your phone app or from the web portal to show where the deposits are coming from that are contributing to your down payment and closing costs. We have to investigate any high value deposits. What is a high value deposit? So let's say there's a $5,000 deposit in the last month and a half. I'm going to have to say, okay, we need to know where that $5,000 came from. AML legislation says we only need to see $10,000. We only see history for $10,000, but a lot of lenders have more stringent guidelines to protect themselves. So I've had underwriters ask for detailed documentation for sources for $2,500 deposits. Something to be aware of. Transferring money between accounts. A lot of our savings sometimes can be held in different accounts. And so we want to collate it all, consolidate it all into one account so it's a lot easier to make that down payment, to pay for the closing costs. We still have to show all of those accounts. We still have to have 3 months of history for all those accounts, unless you make all of those transfers beyond more than 3 months before you actually apply for the mortgage. As long as the money's been sitting in the account for 3 months and there's no other questionable deposits, we're usually okay. If the funds are coming from an investment account, it's a little bit trickier because, first of all, sometimes the investment company has to sign off on them, especially if it's coming from an RRSP and you're using the home buyer plan for that to be able to withdraw without having to be taxed. There are some forms to fill out for that kind of thing. And usually you can only get quarterly statements for investment funds. We work through it, we figure it out, but it becomes a bit more of a pain in the butt. Gifted funds. Now, we actually don't need a whole lot of documentation for gifted funds. So if mom and dad are giving you a portion or even all of the down payment, all we have to do is get a letter, a specific letter for each lender. They all have their own. And it states that you are not obligated to pay those funds back. You sign it, they sign it. That's usually it. Usually mom and dad don't have to prove where those funds came from. There are certain circumstances where they have had to. Maybe it's a really, really, really big down payment. There was one I encountered before, $200,000 down payment. A lot of it was being gifted. We had to show where those funds were coming from. So down payments have much tighter restrictions, much heavier requirements for documentation. Usually it's not necessary for approval. I personally want to see that the money is there. And I want to see that most of the transactions leading up to that current balance are straightforward. I'm good after that. If we have to get more documentation after the fact, that's fine. But as long as we know that the money is there and we know that it's reasonable, we can move forward. But we might have to chase some bank statements and documents for that.